Welcome to the Indiana Football Postgame Show with Jim Coyle and Coach Shannon Griffith. A production of ISB Media. Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle, and game analyst, Coach Shannon Griffith. Well, hey, hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. That was not the intro that I was expecting, but that was left over from the production from over the weekend. How's everybody doing, though? Appreciate you being with us on this Monday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you as always. Looking forward to chatting it up after a big weekend of all kinds of things going on in the sports world. Indiana, of course, picking up another dominant win as they take care of the Maryland Terrapins 55-10 in a game that was led by Indiana's defense and its running game as the Hoosiers stack up something like 367 yards rushing while holding Maryland to a paltry 37 yards, I believe. Crazy. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you along as always. Hope you had a great weekend. Lots of stuff to get to. Indiana remains number 2 in the latest AP poll. Still the same 11 first place votes. I was wondering if that would pick up some steam with this, but I think that with the college football poll coming out tomorrow, the first, we'll see there's a case to be made for Indiana to be number 1. They've got the best win of the season, and they have been nothing but dominant ever since. So it'll be interesting to see what the committee thinks right off the bat. And if I think that they're going to leave Ohio State number 1, to be honest with you. And I understand if you're an IU fan looking at it, I get how you're going to look at it. You're going to think that Indiana should be number 1. And in all honesty, I think that they should be. I think you're right. They should be. They have the best win. They have the when you look at the metrics, if it said anything other than Indiana on their jerseys, they would probably be number 1. Probably. Although Ohio State being the reigning national champion, you're the king. You got to get knocked off. So that hasn't happened just yet. But I think Indiana will do just fine because they're going to let the games decide it. They'll leave Ohio State number 1. They'll leave Indiana number 2. The Big Ten championship game comes along. Not that long. We're not that far away. They'll let it be decided on the field. It's the same with the SEC. I firmly believe the number 1 seed is going to be the Big Ten champion. It's going to be Indiana or Ohio State. The loser of that game is going to drop to the number 3 seed. The winner of the SEC is going to be number 2. The loser of the SEC, I think they'll be number 4. That's my personal opinion. That doesn't mean it's going to be that way, but I feel comfortable and confident that first of all, Indiana will not drop out of the top 4 if their only loss is in the Big Ten championship game to the number 1 team in the country. So that's almost a certainty. Nothing is certain in this world, as we know, but I believe that to be the case. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Basketball coming up this weekend as well as the Indiana Hoosiers open up their season against Alabama A&M this Wednesday. And then this weekend, I'll be in Chicago for Indiana taking on Marquette. Was in Maryland this past weekend, was at Eugene, Oregon. Lots of traveling right now, man, especially you've got both now that both sports are opening up. It's going to be double duty left and right. Von Carvalho announced his commitment to the Indiana Hoosiers at the beginning of the weekend as well, a 6'7" wing. We'll talk more about that. Auburn joins the coaching carousel. Where are these coaches going to come from? I mean, I think we've got to be approaching $200 million in buyouts right now. And that's one issue. But the bigger issue is, where are these guys going to come from? If none of these guys are good enough to run these programs, where are you going to, are these all going to be? They're not all going to be assistants. So there's going to be some recycling, I would imagine. James Franklin, he's going to end up someplace. Hugh Freeze, probably not. Russell, thank you. Dylan Raiola out for the season. Broke his broken fibula in a loss to USC over the weekend. So all kinds of stuff happening over the weekend. Andrew says, if Michigan wins out, will they make the Big Ten championship game over Ohio State? No. Michigan already has let's see. Is Michigan a one-loss team right now or a two-loss team? I think they're a two-loss team, but I've got to get the AP pulled back up. I cannot recall. No, they're not showing their records here, right? That's great. But no, you'd have to be a one-loss team. And I've got to get, they're a one loss in the Big Ten. Okay. If they were to win out and beat Ohio State, yeah, that's a very possibility. And the fact that they've beaten Ohio State, 4 years in a row now, and the game is in Ann Arbor, I would say that there's not much of a chance, but there wasn't much of a chance last year. There was less of a chance last season. And when they went in to Columbus into the shoe and beat the team that would end up winning the national championship. So, yeah, there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Absolutely there is. As crazy as it sounds. Because head-to-head competition matters first. And if they manage to do that, I don't think the overall record supersedes that. I think it's conference play. There's so many different tiebreakers. To be honest, I've got to double check if the overall record matters or not, or if it's just conference play. I would imagine it's not, but Georgia Tech, there were just so many losses this week, and it was crazy. I mean, half of the ranked teams that played, I believe, took it on the chin. And a lot of surprisings, to be honest with you. Let's see. Let me get that pulled up. Scores from over this weekend that probably surprised most of us. Where's the first one? Georgia edges past Florida. Ole Miss beat South Carolina at home. That wasn't expected. North Carolina State, though, in that Georgia Tech game, 84 points scored in that game. 84 points, people. 48-36. North Carolina State took care of Georgia Tech, number 8 Georgia Tech, to hand them their first ACC loss. And the ACC, that's another story. There are so many teams this year that are going to be in contention. If you look at the ACC, you've got Georgia Tech. You've got Louisville. Notre Dame doesn't count for them, but you've got Miami that is in that mix. But are they really anymore? They're 6-2 and 2-2 and 2-2 in the ACC. They took it on the chin. They're one of those teams that took a loss, 26-20 to Miami. How was your weekend? It wasn't good for a lot of these teams, I'll tell you that. Virginia roll. I forgot about Virginia rolling in the ACC. That's right. There's so many. They're 5-0. Louisville 4-1. In the Big 12, you've got a bunch of teams that are good. Cincinnati, though, man, did they get the boy? They got the tar knocked out of them out in Utah. They lose 45-14. That ends their any hopes that they might have. Michigan slugs it out with Purdue, 21-16. Houston, another ranked team, got knocked off, 45-35, lost to West Virginia. USC beats Nebraska at Nebraska, 21-17. That's huge. Boy, Nebraska, they're like 0-25 or something against top 25 teams, going a streak that goes back a long ways. USC's hopes hang on. They're 4-1 in the Big Ten. Can they keep climbing? I don't know, man. Their ranking is pretty far down. They're going to have to do some climbing. I don't think there's going to be room. I think there's only going to be room for 3 teams at the end for the Big Ten. I think that they may kind of beat each other up a little bit there in the middle and knock them out. But we'll see. We shall see. Hey, we've got to take a break. Mr. Fischer will join us. On the other side, back with more right after these messages from all of our favorites. That's what brings us to you. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, and that means a visit from your favorite and mine, the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. Don, how are you after this weekend? Nice. Did you have some crab cakes in Maryland?
I had a bite of a crab cake. That was all that Jeff Keg would give me. We went to dinner on Friday night, and he ordered the crab cake. So, and I'm not the biggest crab cake fan, but I know a lot of people are, and Keg is one of them. So he gave me a bite of his. So, and it was a smidgen, so I barely tasted it.
I was going to say it probably was not big. It probably was not much.
No, he didn't. We sat right next to each other, and he didn't offer a second bite. So just so you know,
probably kind of gave you the shoulder too to block you out. No reach-ins. I had some. I had to try it. Crab cakes in football. Apparently, that's what Indiana does these days. As man, a game that started out, I don't want to say sloppy. It wasn't sloppy by Indiana. It was just a little slower start, but defensively, my gosh, again, and again, we see what this team does. They are relentless from a defensive standpoint. They are in your face. They are the takeaways, the strips. I mean, both of those fumbles that were caused were active hands, Don, that were just reaching out and just, it's amazing because Maryland had turned the ball over 5 times going into that game, and Indiana forced 5 turnovers on that day.
Yeah, it was special, no question. Those 5 turnovers turned into 24 points, obviously, and another terrific performance by this Indiana football team. They're really, really good. It's just so simple to say, and yet we still sit here in a kind of a utopian scenario that we feel like we've not seen anything quite like this before, which we haven't. And I hate to go back and say that Indiana's never had any success, because they have. They obviously went to the Rose Bowl in '67. In 1945, they won the Big Ten championship and again tied for it in '67. So they have had some points like that. And the Mallory years were special in my mind because that was the best football we've seen at Indiana.
And it was sustained. That lasted for like a decade.
Yeah, and it was really good football, and it was a different era, of course, and the toughness and everything that the Indiana showed in those ball games through the Mallory years was special. There's no question about that, and they went to 6 bowl games in that era. So, but again, it was a different era, and now we're in a totally different era with the transfer portal and NIL and all those kinds of things. And I don't like it. I just think it's not great for college football or college athletics in general. But you cannot say that Curt Cignetti hasn't done a remarkable job because of it. He immediately adapted to it. He knew what he was doing in that regard. The fact that Scott Dolson, when they started talking about NIL becoming a reality, went out and got put together a program that got Indiana involved in it before a lot of other schools even thought about it. And the fact that Indiana took that on at that point with Dolson in the lead, what he did in that regard is phenomenal. And so all you can say is that Indiana has taken advantage of their opportunities in that sense. And then they hired the absolute right guy for this football program. And it's been nothing but success since he's been on campus. So all I can tell you at this point is this is a really special football team, a special football program now, and it's among the best in the country, without doubt.
Yeah, the Cignetti effect, as I call it, is real. And I firmly believe that what we're seeing in today's college football right now is that he's part of causing. I don't know how many are we looking at, 12 coaching openings right now, which is seriously, is a record for this time of year, a record. It already beat the record like a week ago. I think that I definitely believe that the success Indiana is having, that is fostered by what Curt Cignetti has done, is causing these guys at these traditional places to go, wait a minute. Come on, guys. Yeah, we can do this and we can't. And there is jealousy, there's disbelief, but it starts and ends with the coaching. And it's not just Curt Cignetti, it's Brian Haynes, it's Mike Shanahan, it's Bob Bostad, you can go down the line. He's got the right guys in the right places, but they do what they say they're going to do, and they do exactly how he runs this. And that's why I'm starting to see national people finally starting to concede Indiana is actually legit, real, and the biggest thing is because they don't beat themselves.
Right, they don't. And they play complementary football. When the offense struggles, the defense picks them up. And when the defense struggles, the offense picks them up. Every single ball game that you've watched this year, in that regard, there is complementary football being played throughout the ball game. And that's why Indiana's dominated most of their opponents this year. But at the same time, in those games that were tight, the Iowa, the Oregon ball game, those two tight ball games, Indiana found a way to win those games because of that complementary football. And I just think that's a big part of why the success at Indiana is being copied. All these coaches now are looking at what Indiana's doing. I guarantee you they are listening to how Curt Cignetti goes about his business, because he doesn't couch his words in that regard. He basically tells it like it is and what they do on a consistent basis. I think he's put together basically a program that now people are saying this is the way you have to do it. You can't do it any other way, because if you're going to do it any other way, you're probably not going to be successful.
I agree. And that's exactly what I'm speaking of when I talk about this Cignetti effect, because Indiana has rev share like everybody else, and they have NIL, but I promise you, they don't have Texas Tech NIL money. They don't have Ohio State NIL money. And it's why Curt Cignetti was successful prior to coming to Indiana. It's why he won. He's very good at he's used to not having all of that. So they've been very good at player identification and player development, and they are extraordinarily good at that. And now they're even better with better talent. Yeah,
and that's the whole point. Curt Cignetti's first thing is the character of the player that he's going after. If they don't have that character and that kind of mentality, if they don't have what he's looking for in those areas, I don't think he goes after anybody else. I mean, it may be the most talented guy that's coming into college football this year, being a freshman, coming out of high school. But if he doesn't have that character issue first, I don't think he recruits them. And I think he is just a very smart guy and knows how to build a program, and has done so every place he's been. And he's used that same formula every place he's been. It doesn't change. And the thinking process going into it doesn't change. And he hires really great people to surround himself with, which is another trait of a great coach. You can't be afraid of the guys you're hiring in the sense of loyalty and all those kinds of things. Now, definitely you have to have those kinds of things in your character as an assistant coach. But at the same time, he goes out and finds the best people he thinks can help his football team win. And most of those guys have stayed with him. That's the other thing. I mean, Haynes has stayed with him for all these years. Shanahan as well. He's got like 6 different coaches that have been with him at JMU and prior to that. So you're looking at a guy who really knows what he's doing in this regard. And I can't say enough great things about Curt Cignetti, simply because I think the guy is a master at what he does.
And I do agree with that. And not that he's here, but to blow his head up, it is. I mean, if you can do it, it ain't bragging.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
Well, but he never he backs everything he says. Yeah. He backs up. I mean, it's that simple.
But the thing is now, Don, though, he's not this season. He's acknowledged that last year he did a lot of that because this program needed that. The fan base needed. Right. There was not really a fan base. Right. You had a core of old fans, and by old I mean that have been supporting them for a while.
And a lot of them are old.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's had to be that way for so long.
Right.
But and so he got that. Now this year he's more focused on business at hand. You can tell he's more businesslike in the pressers. He's more businesslike. He's not snarky. He's just taking the business approach. And he knows the target is on their back. People are waiting for them to fail. People are waiting for Indiana to fall because, they don't, especially the ones that don't believe it's real. They're waiting for this balloon to pop. People like Paul Feinbaum, who part of what he does is people have to understand it's stick. It's going to draw in an audience.
Sure.
I mean, you want to if you say what everybody wants to hear you say, you're not going to draw them, but stir them up. But when you say that's the stuff that he does, well, yeah, you got the SEC fandoms and all of that, and it's boy, it would sure be nice to see Indiana knock off one or two SEC teams in this postseason.
Well, right now, let's just get to the postseason unbeaten. That would be awesome in itself. And this next test is going to be a test. Anybody that doesn't think that is crazy, because you go to Penn State. I grant you, they're having problems. They've lost 5 straight ball games right now. Indiana coming there as the number 2 team in the country and knocking them off could make their season, especially under the new interim coach and so on. And I guarantee you they're going to be ready for it. Their fan base has always been one of the best in the country, and it's going to be a challenge to play Penn State, and Indiana will have to be at their best, I think, to win this contest. But I still think Indiana's going to win it. I think that they're going to I think that they will persevere, just because what we've seen over the last 2 years indicates that that's the case. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's going to be an interesting football game, because I know Penn State still has a ton of talent on that team, and their running backs are really good, and they've got a really good offensive line. They've got some youth and all that kind of stuff. They're playing a lot more of the younger guys, I think, at this point too. But those guys just keep getting better, and they had a lot of talent in the stable before all this problem scenario for them has taken place. So they still have the talent.
Oh, absolutely. And the Nittany Lions winless in conference play right now, Don. So they want to get that win on the table. Indiana basketball starts its season on Wednesday. Yep. Do you start tonight with Inside?
Yes. Inside IU basketball with Darren DeVries tonight, first show of the year.
Good. Hey, good job for me for remembering that. So you'll be out at Hoosier Hanks twice this week, then, of course, right? On Monday with Inside Inside Indiana basketball with Darren DeVries, then back on Thursday with Inside Indiana football with Coach Kurt Signetti. I had Kurt Signotti on the show last Friday, by the way.
And don't forget, we got Alabama A&M on Wednesday as the season opener for IU basketball. And then we've got Penn State and Marquette as the opponents for football and basketball this coming weekend. So it's a busy week.
Are you doing both games this weekend?
I'm doing them all, buddy.
Oh, you're the man. Well, I'll see you I'll see you today at the presser, but I'll see you Wednesday and Sunday. I am not making the trip to Penn State because I don't have a private jet.
I got you.
Back and forth on.
All right.
Enjoy your day, buddy.
Thanks. See you.
Don Fischer joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, as he does on each Monday. Always appreciative to talk to the fish. As I'll see him out at the presser today. Today is Coach Sig's weekly presser post game. It's not really much of a post game, but it is kind of, you clean up the post game questions and you're going into the week, but you don't get a lot of stuff in regards to the upcoming game, really, other than some health reports. We'll find out how some of these injuries are coming along for Indiana. That's one of the issues, or one of the few issues that Indiana's facing at the moment, is injuries on the football side of things. Let's see. You had Aiden Fischer, who is banged up. You've got Elijah Surratt, who's banged up. You've got Drew Evans, who's banged up. Let's see. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but I think that Elijah Surratt, not really one that is. I think he'll probably be back this weekend. Aiden Fischer, not sure, only because I know that they want him for the final run. So I don't know exactly what the injury is, how severe it is, if they need to give him another week or so. Drew Evans, it seems, is going to be out a minute, unfortunately, for the Hoosiers. So, but we'll find out more on that today. Big weekend, like I said. Let's see, where did I lost my scores that I had pulled up? Yeah, in the Big Ten alone, Ohio State took care of the Nittany Lions. They win 38-14 at home. Now, it will be interesting for me to see if Indiana can go to Penn State and beat them, let's say, 38-10, 41-10, something like that on the road. Now, that is going to really interest me to see what the CFP people do after that game, because that will give you Indiana having the best win in the country, having won relatively easy at Oregon, a top 6 team at the moment. And if they have a head-to-head win over a same team on the road versus Ohio State playing them at home, you have to make Indiana number 1 at that moment. I will see. It'll be very interesting. Of course, Indiana handed Maryland their 3rd straight loss, I believe, or is it the 4th straight loss? But they're 4-4 overall now, 1-4 in the Big Ten. They just they've got a good defense, which is odd to say for a team that gave up 55 points, but the defense didn't give up 55, but the offense gave up some of that. How about Purdue? Giving Michigan all that they can handle. They hold the Wolverines to 21 points. It was a 14-7 game at the half. Then it was a 14-10 game after 3 quarters. And Purdue can't quite get it done. They lose 21-16. But I think this says a little bit about both. Purdue they're getting a little bit better. Michigan's they're okay. Sharon Moore is not the coach for Michigan. Again, I've said it over and over, and I'll say it again. He got this job as a reward for keeping his mouth shut during this cheating scandal. He was the guy. And if you recall, when Harbaugh was suspended and he was the interim coach the year before last, and they get this win, and he's on TV afterwards just crying like a baby and using the F word. And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Not head coach material. I'm sorry. Not head coach material. When you get that emotional over something while you're cheating your ass off, yeah, no respect. I'm sorry. Big game in the Big Ten over the weekend. USC at Nebraska. Both of these teams still had fleeting hopes of the CFP and other things. It's over for Nebraska. They dropped their 3rd game of the season. They're now 3-3 in the Big Ten after the Trojans win 21-17 with a comeback in the second half. As I said, this extends Nebraska's streak of losing to top 25 teams. I'll have to find that number. But King Miller ran for 129 yards in the go-ahead touchdown in the 4th quarter as the number 23 Trojans overcame its worst passing performance in 7 years to beat Nebraska on Saturday night in Lincoln. The Trojans had come in with the nation's top passing offense, but Jaden Maeva went just 9 of 23, 135 yards during Nebraska's first blackout. Sellout crowd of 86,000 people. But as I said earlier, the Cornhuskers quarterback Dylan Raiola lost to a right ankle injury in the 3rd quarter, which would turn out to be a broken fibia. That was Nebraska's 29th straight game against a ranked opponent that they lost. Man. And things, Nebraska takes Matt Rule off the board, off the coaching carousel board, and yet he continues to disappoint. I never understood why they cared. I'm like, let him go. Who the hell's going to take him? You just don't know. We got to take a break. Lots more coming up. Lots more to get to. Lots more to talk about. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us later as well. Appreciate you being with us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. We're back with more right after these messages. Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. So much going on. How about the World Series coming to an end finally? But, well, in dramatic fashion, as the LA Dodgers get it done. It looked like that thing was going the other way for so long, and the Dodgers able to pull it out. I believe did they get a ninth inning? Yeah, top of the ninth inning, a single solo home run to tie it. And then Will Smith, a native of Louisville, becomes the man. Not that Will Smith. This one slapped one, all right. He slapped one to deep left field for what would be the game and World Series winner for the LA Dodgers. Became the first repeat champions in 25 years since the Yankees back in, I think, 98, 2000. Before that, it was my Big Red Machine from the 70s. That shows you. That's how hard it is to do. That's how it's in 50 years. It's happened 3 times in 50 years. And that could have gone either way. But hey, I didn't have a rooting interest in it. It was just fun to watch, and fun to watch that go back and forth. So I know that it kept everyone captivated after a long day of college football on Saturday. And being in Maryland, it's a lot harder to catch things when you're on the road. Rather, it's harder to catch things. So you've got to catch them when you can. And luckily that evening I was grabbing some late dinner and got to sit down and watch that. Then had to come home and watch as much football as possible, rewatch the games, because there were so many that would carry importance. Right now, looking at the Big Ten standings, Indiana 6-0, leading it. Is this updated? It has Ohio State as 5-0, or they're an 8-0, or maybe they're ahead of them by a game yet. but I don't think that Ohio State has had 2 byes already. Michigan sitting number 3. They're 5-1 in the conference. As to the question earlier, I think it might have been by Andrew, as to if Michigan were to beat Ohio State, yeah, right now, that would be the case. So Michigan's still holding out hopes, not only for an appearance in the Big Ten championship game, but the college football playoffs. Because if they did win out, they're 7-2 right now. Now, if they end up, I don't know that a 9-3 team, well, they wouldn't be 9-3. I wonder if a 10-2 Michigan team is still a possibility for getting into the playoff, depending on how they play Ohio State, to be honest with you. Even if they lose that game, depending upon how they play, they could, because their ranking is so far down. I'm thinking, see, you can't confuse the AP with the CFP. It'll be interesting to see where these teams come out. Oregon, right there, they're a game behind just because they have, as far as they've got to play another game. They're 4-1 and 7-1. So they've got another game to play yet. The Iowa Hawkeyes, 1 loss in conference play. They're 6-2 overall. USC, 4-1 in the conference, 6-2 overall. Those are the teams that still have a shot to make the Big Ten. Now, I don't know what Iowa's remaining schedule is, but I can tell you right now, wow. Well, they host Oregon next up this Saturday. Let me take a quick break and get Greg Rakestraw to join us. We're back with more. Well, you know what? I'll just go ahead and bring him in right now since he's on. And then we'll cut through there. If we only have a couple of minutes here in this segment, but we'll carry over. I'll carry over. That's I remember one of my funnest scenes from MASH. They wanted Hawkeye to carry a gun, and they're like, I'll karaoke, I'll carry over, I'll carry under, but I will not carry a gun. Greg Rakestraw, how are you doing, buddy? How was your weekend? It looks like it's starting off with a nice and fluffy start to the day.
Yeah, this is a Winnie, one of our 2 house cats that is as much of a ham for airtime as I am. So she's checking to make sure that you're doing all right this morning, and offer apologies for being 10 minutes late, as I am kind of playing center field on a Monday and trying to get stuff lined up for later this week. And I thought about this interview at 8:50 and about 9 and 9:10 and at 9:20, completely spaced it. So my sincerest apologies.
Never a problem, brother. It's always great to have you on board. Like I said, a big weekend just all the way around. So much going on. You've got high school football playoffs. You've got college football that is deep into the season of meaningful games that continue. And the Colts, you know what? That's a game. They take that loss. I'm not surprised, although as sloppy as they played, the fact that they lose that game by 7 with 6, they had, they lose it by almost as many points as they had turnovers. So the mere fact that they were that close in the game, but that's a game that you're probably going to have once a season for whatever reason.
I would say that was the law of averages catching up to them. They had played at such a ridiculously high level in terms of not turning the football over, in terms of not getting Daniel Jones sacked, that everything kind of caught up in the course of one game. I think they had allowed 5 sacks all year. Daniel was sacked 5 times. I think they had 4 turnovers all season. They had 6 in that one game. For whatever reason, man, Pittsburgh has been a house of horrors for the Indianapolis Colts over the years. Since the team moved to Indianapolis, Jim, they have won 1 time in Pittsburgh. 2008 is the only time they have won at what was Heinz Field, now Acrisure Stadium. And so the good news is Colts still the first seed in the AFC as of this morning. Now they are joined by both the Patriots at 7-2, the Broncos at 7-2, and again that Colts win against the Broncos gets more massive by the week as things go along. The Bills obviously a half game back of them at 6-2, but a little bit of the margin for error or cushion is gone now, and obviously now it's kind of a prove it game for the Colts, and we'll see how they handle their toughest adversity of the year in terms of making the trip to Berlin and playing the Falcons on Sunday morning.
Yeah, that when you make those trips, there's been so much made of, like in the college football, with the new conferences of having these teams on the West Coast and yada yada, which is something the NFL's dealt with for years. But how that travel is affected, the losing is a preponderance of the time. But then we see how Kurt Signetti was managing his travel, his success that he was having. And then I talked to Matt Taylor about it. He said, yeah, there's certain ways you do it. Then the last time, who was it that went over that played the Jags? The Rams, maybe? They arrived the day before the game, played the game, and they won easily. So I think that there's just different ways to manage this long distance travel, and I wonder how the Colts are going to do it.
Sure. So I'll tell you in a second, but I'll clue you in on the Rams. What the Rams did, the Rams played the Ravens in Baltimore the week before, and what they did is they stayed in Baltimore. So they did not go back to the West Coast. They literally practiced at Camden Yards. They turned the outfield into two kind of 30 and 40, 50-yard fields for them to kind of train there, and then flew over on Saturday, just like you would fly from the West Coast to the East Coast or vice versa to play a game here in this country. So the Colts have done this because they played in Germany 2 years ago against the Patriots. There are teams that are assigned to certain regions of Germany because the Colts had a player in Bjorn Werner from Germany. They have historically had players on their practice squad from Germany. In fact, they've had 3 of them. Remember Ben Ishola that played at IU? Ben was actually on the Colts practice squad for a couple of years. They had Marcel Dabo the last 3 years from Germany. That was you get an extra practice squad position if you have an international player. The Colts have one this year, Maximilian Mang, who played at Syracuse, who was from Germany. They also obviously have a left tackle from Austria in Bernhard Reimann. So the Colts are a prime target to play these games in Germany because there's kind of some ties for the franchise. So they've got a little bit of experience. So they will literally have a normal week until the end of Thursday's practice. So I'll go out there on Wednesday, and Shane will talk at 11:30, and locker room open at 12:45, and practice is at 2. Practice will be at 1 o'clock on Thursday. Difference is those guys won't go home on Thursday. They will shower up, they'll get on the plane, and they will fly to Berlin. And so they will then practice, which by the time you get to Friday and this time of the year, is a walkthrough, is a 1-hour practice on Friday, kind of normal day off on Saturday in terms of there's no travel, play on Sunday, fly home, and then have the bye. So this is now all compressed. Once you make the trip, it's down to about 60 hours or so is kind of what you're going to have, actually in country. So there are so many nutritionists and sports scientists and sleep experts and things like that these teams have access to that, this used to be like a full week trip. And now this gets more and more like any other game. Each and every year, these teams play multiple games overseas.
Yeah, and the NFL really spreading their brand. That's no accident, as the future plans. We've already heard, I think, to have some franchises over in Europe.
Well, the thought has always been that if there was a team that was going to move, it was going to be Jacksonville, because Shad Khan, that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, is also the owner of Fulham, which is one of the professional teams from the Premier League in London. And there are other people that have, soccer interests. The Glazers that own the Buccaneers own Manchester United. The Cronkies that own the Rams are a part of Arsenal as well. That hasn't happened yet, and I'm still not sure it's going to happen. But what I really do think is going to happen at some point is a Super Bowl be played in London. I think that is kind of the first step And then you think about, okay, do you have a team overseas? So the next barrier that's going to be tripped by the National Football League, there will be a game played in Australia at the start of the year next year. And again, because of you're literally halfway around the world, you're talking about a 14-hour flight. That is one where I think it'll be the opening game of the season, and teams will be over there for 4 or 5 days at minimum to get adjusted. And I would even think that either that's going to be the Thursday night game automatically, or maybe that game is played as part of like a Thursday doubleheader to start the season. In other words, where you give the teams like an extra 3-day buffer to kind of get back reacclimated and get on to week number 2. Because I don't think those teams would want to have a bye in week number 2 like you normally do after international travel. But that's kind of the next frontier for the National Football League from their international games.
Yeah, and with all hopes, when they get to the having a Super Bowl in London, I guess the halftime show would have to be Paul McCartney and Mick Jagger.
Well, it might be past their bedtime. Maybe we'll set up for Oasis, and the brothers might fight on stage. You never know.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll have to roll them out there, maybe just get them up to the stage. But heck yeah, all kinds of. But it's fun no matter what. But yeah, but another fun season. The Colts have got to. They've just got to get things back going. Like I said, that was a game I'm not surprised to see. It's just that's the NFL. And it's just you have one of those games, and they had one of those games that you could tell things going bad. Let's see. I've got to take a quick break if you don't mind.
Sure.
And we'll come back, get you caught up on what happened over the weekend in high school football. The playoffs are rolling, as well as much more. Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network joining us. Make sure you check that out. Back with more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you along. Thanks a lot for joining us, no matter where or how, on one of our great radio station affiliates or following along on social media. You know what to do. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and do the same when you go to the ISC Sports Network and get that subscription. Greg Rakestraw with us. Greg, high school football, man, deep into it as well. You've got 6A and everybody playing now.
We're down to 96 teams left playing, Jim, and let me tell you about the game that I had on Friday night, because I had an ending I had not seen before at the high school level, and an ending that would have been different in college and professional football. So I had the Lawrence Central Lawrence North game, and LC is 4-5 going in, but LN scored with 2 seconds left to go to beat them in the regular season opener. They led number 2 Carmel for most of that game. But in week 9, but Carmel found a way to beat them 36-33. It's 24-20 Lawrence North. LC drives the length of the field with 4:10 left to go. And again, I forget whether it's 3rd down or 4th down, but with 2 seconds left to go, game is going to end for Lawrence Central after the next play. Their quarterback in Santana Allen dives for the end zone. Breck Mallory, coach's son at Lawrence North, in terms of Pat's son that's going to play football at the Division I level. He makes a play to knock the football free from the quarterback as Santana is diving across the goal line. He had not crossed the goal line yet. Ball is recovered in the end zone by Al Gooden III, the grandson of the Hall of Fame basketball coach from Harding and Lawrence Central, and amongst other places. In college and the pros, that late in the game, you cannot advance a fumble unless you are the person that has fumbled the ball. That rule does not exist in high school. So in a game-winning fumble recovery in the end zone, Lawrence Central upsets Lawrence North to move on to the sectional championship and face Decatur Central in sectional number 6.
That's just a crazy finish and crazy disappointing for Lawrence North, of course. And sometimes you hate to see it, but that's how the cookie crumbles, man. That's why that ball has 2 points on the ends of it. There were 2 other games with just kind of surprising endings, man. Cathedral just destroyed Anderson 68-0. Center Grove, Jeffersonville 48-0 over the Red Devils. So just obliterated these 2 teams.
Jam, that's just the difference in large school football in the Indianapolis area versus other parts of the state. And Anderson historically has struggled in football. The North Central Conference, other than, say, Lafayette, Jeff, and Lester, Kokomo, Marion kind of had one great season about 10 years or so ago. But, the North Central Conference is down to 6. And again, the back end of that league simply is not good in football. And Jeffersonville is such an outlier. Jeffersonville is the only 6A school south of Columbus North in football. And there's just really no way for them to prepare. They see Center Grove in the sectional final or sectional semifinal every year because that group has largely remained unchanged. That is Center Grove, Franklin Central, Columbus North, and Jeffersonville. And even Columbus North, who got beat by Franklin Central, Columbus North, to their credit, like they played Carmel this year. They try to play Roncalli and Cathedrals on a semi-regular basis, knowing that enrollment-wise, they're going to be in 6A. Jeff has kind of bounced back and forth, but they have been in 6A for the last several years. And, Jeff plays a pretty solid 4A, 5A schedule, but nothing that prepares you for playing perennially one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the state of Indiana. So you just kind of get that, especially at 6A. That carries over to some degree to 4A and 5A as well. Unless you play the Indianapolis teams on a regular basis, there's no way to replicate what you would see from them on a Friday night. And it's why, to again use the Jeffersonville example, I so love what Sharon Wilkerson did from a scheduling standpoint because Lord knows it paid off in terms of winning a state championship. Alex Daniel at South Bend Riley is kind of the same. They're going to play their league games, and when they're done playing their league games, they're getting to Indianapolis to play schools in that area as often as possible because they know that's the best preparation to kind of get down or upstate, depending on where you are, and make a deep run of the tournament. Football's a bit tougher. If you play in a 6 or 7 team league, you've got 3 or 4 opportunities maybe to kind of schedule those non-conference games. I know Jeffersonville played Kokomo, for example, this year in terms of a non-conference game, trying to replicate that. But oftentimes in football, if you're in an 18 league, weeks 3 through 9, you are locked into playing your conference schedule. And there's only so many Indy area teams you can find to go play. So basketball, you can kind of work around that. Football can be a difficult bird scheduling wise.
Yeah, you mentioned 5A, man. 5A is where we get to see a lot of the other Evansville North wins 55-7 over New Albany, and then Floyd Central 49-14 over Castle, an Evansville team. So there's the mix from Southern Indiana to Evansville, East Central winner. Bloomington North over Terre Haute North 49-0, and New Pal 42-7. Whiteland 42-21 over Columbus East. So a good mix of those teams, and that's going to be some good games going. Floyd and Evansville North both score 49 and 55 points. Man, that's going to be a matchup of high octane offenses.
Floyd should win that game. Floyd's a top 10 team. I want to say that Floyd's lone loss is Whiteland, and Whiteland is also ranked. Whiteland plays East Central, which should be a really good football game. Two teams that are ranked in 5A. East Central is actually playing up a classification because of their success a couple of years ago in 4A. They won that sectional last year, which will likely keep them in 5A. And Jim, we now have had what we call the success factor in sports for about 15 years in the IHSAA, give or take a year or two. And what we are seeing now in football is teams other than Cathedral that may be playing themselves up, not just one classification, but two. Cathedral has been the team that has gone from 4A to 5A to 6A and then hung around 6A for several years. This is their first year back in the 5A classification. There is a good chance in the next 2 years that both Chatard and New Pal bump up an additional class. Chatard's enrollment's around, I want to say 800. They're playing in 4A, and I think there's a good chance they win 4A. It's likely them and Heritage Hills that'll play in the semi-state round that will duke it out to see who gets the state championship. And frankly, Jim, both of those are 3A schools, but they have both been so successful, they have bumped up to 4A. New Pal is a 4A school. They have been dominant in 4A. They have won 5A in the past. I think they're the heavy favorite. They'll face Cathedral this week, and frankly, New Pal's not going to smoke Cathedral, but New Pal is likely the favorite in that game. They're probably a year away from playing in 6A for the first time, and New Pal likely is probably the fifth or sixth best team in the state this year as they are constructed now. So we are getting to that point where the schools that have played up now are kind of figuring out ways how to stay up and be successful there. So just something to keep your eye on trend-wise over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 4A and a few surprises. BNL, Bedford North Lawrence back, baby. The Stars are returned.
It's their best year in a long time. They were the answer to a trivia question for a long time. They were the last Hoosier Hills Conference team to beat Columbus East kind of during their reign in Bob Gaddis's days. Now, East has kind of tailed off and kind of returned to earth over the course of the last few years. BNL has been down. Frankly, Martinsville has been a little bit down this year, too. Martinsville is really good the last couple of years.
They're coming off a 52-20 win, though.
In terms of that game coming up. So probably the stopping point then would be at that point for them because, again, Heritage Hills should be the team that they would run into then in the postseason.
Chatard, 63 points, man. That's a lot of points to put up in a playoff. What this was this the sectional championship weekend?
No, so sectional championship is this weekend. So again, what throws it off is that 1A through 4A, you're looking at 7 and 8 team sectionals. Sometimes you'll have a kind of a squirrely 5 or 6 team sectional because a 1A team might drop because of lack of numbers or things like that. Then it's the 5As and 6As that play in 4 team sectionals. And so what the IHSA has done, those guys sit a week. And then once the 5A and 6A start, everybody's in the sectional semis. So we are now handing out trophies every Friday night from this point in time on. Sectional, regional, semi-state, then state championships at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh, Jasper. It seems like Jerry Burr's still there, man.
He's not, just so you know. But Derek Hart is there. Derek has been is John Hart's son, head coach at Brownsburg. His brother Nick is the head coach and AD at Gibson Southern. And then Derek was at North Central. Derek quarterbacked at Warren Central when John won a state championship there. Jasper's got a good team, but again, Heritage Hills led by Jet Goldsberry, who's going to go play at Ole Miss. They've got another recruit that's going to go to Oklahoma. Jet's dad, John, played at both Purdue and then played for the Buffalo Bills in the National Football League as well. Jasper and Heritage Hills should be a really good game, but probably a slight lean towards Heritage Hills in that one, Jim.
Yeah, and so there's got some a great mix again. Like I said, Ron Colley's in there, Pendleton Heights, of course, from that area, but Martinsville with the win, Jasper, as I mentioned, Bedford North Lawrence. So going to see a nice mix in 4A, man. I mean, this is still high. And then 3A, Gibson Southern, this shows a tie. That can't be accurate.
So Gibson Southern beat Memorial 28-21. So Gibbs,
Okay.
that was 2 top 5 teams, depending on what poll you were looking at in terms of what they were ranked. Cascade is the other team to watch out for in the southern half of the bracket. Cascade has not won a sectional since 1992. And for those that do not know where Cascade is located, that is the school district that is west of Plainfield on US 40, so southwestern Hendricks County. Cascade put it on Tri-West, whose quarterback is heading to play at the University of Louisville, and you might know his dad, Jim Sorgi. That is obviously former Indianapolis Colts quarterback. Cascade has put big numbers up on everybody. Cascade gets Garin Catholic this week. Garin's a strong team led by Tom Dilley, but I think Coach Simmons and Cascade are the favorite. They will host that sectional game. Cascade and Gibson Southern would not see each other until the semi-state. They actually share a common foe. That's who Danville played weeks 1 and weeks 2 of the season. Gibson Southern beat Danville by a touchdown. Cascade beat them by 2 touchdowns. Should be a really good game. And it's kind of been thought that in the southern half of the bracket in 3A, it would be Cascade versus the Gibson Southern Memorial winner. Whenever those 2 teams would see each other, they drew each other in the semifinal. Memorial went undefeated against an Evansville schedule, but Gibson Southern has now beaten them each of the last 2 years, Jim.
Gibson Southern, Heritage Hills, among some of the big-time Southern schools, but also Crown Point. Where are they? Are they still active?
So Crown Point and Penn are both undefeated, and they play each other. They're in the same sectional. So those are clearly the 2 best teams in 6A outside of the Indianapolis area. Crown Point made the state championship 2 years ago, and Ben Davis beat them. They were beaten last year by Westfield in the semi-state. And again, the likely opponent for whomever wins that Crown Point Penn game would be Carmel in the semi-state. Carmel being the favorite now. They'd have to get through Westfield this week, Fishers or HSC next week. Kind of whoever survives, from the Fort Wayne / South Bend-ish areas, other than Crown Point and Penn. But Crown Point and Penn is one of the games of the week, if not the game of the week. Probably would lean a little bit towards Crown Point in that one, even though both teams are undefeated going into the contest.
Man, it's going to be a fun one, we know, because these are some fun teams, fun games, and we've got 3 more weekends.
Correct. So, again, sectional final this week, regional final the next week, semi-state after that, state championships 28th and 29th at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Man, back to back, baby. It's going to be fun. Hope you're drinking the tea, the honey tea, and what you got? Oh, yeah, I hear you. Mine
the old
says that on the. It says that on the cup. That's
there.
not really. That's just the good old fashioned, easy whatever I can throw in the K cup. So what you got coming up this week?
So I'll do a little traveling for college soccer. I'm off to Milwaukee for the Horizon League semifinals, then back for Westfield Carmel Friday night, volleyball state championship Saturday night at Gamebridge Fieldhouse in 4A, and then an afternoon post-game show with Rick Venturi as the Colts are in Berlin. So, just your average week, no big whoop.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Let's see. When is the kickoff for the Colts game?
9:30 a.m. So my show goes from 12. So I am opposite the 1 o'clock games. I'm used to being opposite the 4 o'clock games. So I'm eyeballing Chiefs and Bills and Raiders, Jaguars the entire time. We're talking about Colts and Steelers. Now I get the full smorgasbord of 1 o'clock games to talk about while talking about Colts and Falcons from Berlin on Sunday afternoon.
Let's see. So that's Sunday, right?
Correct.
Man. Yeah. I my last TV job was out in Washington State, and that was the hardest thing getting used to.
Monday you get used to 10 o'clock kickoffs, don't you? You get spoiled, don't you?
It was definitely different, definitely different. But someone wanted to ask me before I let you go, Chris, what do you think about 2A? Who are the favorites in 2A?
Sure. Brownstown Central has a chance to make their deepest run. Reed May has been crushing it for years in Brownstown. The better teams in 2A, I think, are in the northern half of the bracket. Brownstown has always been tripped up at some point in time along the way, whether it's regional or semi-state.
63-21, they won this weekend, baby.
Correct. I think they can get through. LaPel is unbeaten, number 3. They nearly got beaten by Eastern Hancock on Friday. Adams Central is a great story. Adams Central is a 1A school that couldn't get past Lutheran in 1A. Then Adams gets to 2A, as Lutheran did too last year. but Adams Central made it to state and won a state championship, and now they're one of the favorites to do it again. Lutheran will be in the path of Brownstown Central at some point in time. Linton Stockton will be in the path of Brownstown Central at some point in time. I think it's Adams Central that comes out of the north. I think it could be Brownstown, but probably a slightly tougher road for Brownstown to get there than, say, Adams Central in 2A.
A lot of high-scoring games in that class and a lot of close games. Eastern beats Tipton 41-40, and Switzerland County, well, not Switzerland County, but Heritage Christian 57-56 over Monrovia. 113 points scored in that game. Was that like 8 overtimes, or was that regulation?
That's regulation, and Monrovia does it all on the ground. Monrovia does not throw the football. That's all running the football for the Bulldogs as well.
My gosh, there. How many? It would seem like it'd be hard to get that many points running the ball, but I guess they're having a lot of 50, 60-yard runs.
Correct. I've seen him do it over the years historically. Absolutely.
I know you didn't get a chance to see it, but Indiana against Maryland over the weekend. The passing game wasn't there because Maryland was focusing on it. Well, it was so funny to hear, and I'll play that for the folks here a little bit. But Fernando Mendoza said, "Hey, you want to focus on our run PO game? That's fine. We'll shove 368 yards down your throat."
The only nothing concerning from that game in of itself. You just worry about injuries, and that's why that bye week between Wisconsin and Purdue is so vital, because Surratt didn't play, Fischer didn't play. But my God, I mean, just that's why I like about this IU team so much. And you've heard me say it. At times you can go, we're going to run the ball right here, and there seemingly is nothing you can do about it. When you're that dominant on the offensive and defensive lines, that's why that travels. And frankly, that's part of the reason why you can be a little concerned about the Colts game yesterday, because that was the most pressure that Daniel Jones had faced all year. It was the first time that the offensive line didn't look impenetrable for the Indianapolis Colts. That was not the case in terms of the IU game. And Jim, this is crazy. You talk about Penn State and Wisconsin being on the schedule next, but IU's 3 remaining scheduled opponents have as many Big Ten wins as you and I do.
Yep.
It's amazing to say that, where it appears to be so clear that Indiana is going to be in the Big Ten championship game on December the 6th.
Yeah, I think I sent out a tweet, or whatever you call them now. I don't even know. A tweet at halftime of the game at Maryland Saturday, and it said that I currently have 2 less rushing yards than Maryland does at the half.
Right.
And that was a fact.
You
Buddy,
know,
appreciate you. Oh, go ahead.
I know you got to get to a break, but
no, we're good.
There's a lot of coaches that make a lot of money outside of football in terms of like leadership seminars and things like that. And I think a lot of that I could do without. I'd pay money to hang around Curt Cignetti, because how he has flipped the culture in such a short period of time. His story fascinates me, because to go from the worst winning percentage in the history of major college football to being a shoo-in for a college football playoff for a second year in a row, to being a shoo-in for the Big Ten championship, to being a national championship contender, to potentially having the Heisman Trophy winner, to potentially having the number 1 pick in the draft, and knowing that of the guys we're seeing play now for Indiana, you're talking about potentially 7 or 8 guys that will be drafted. We usually talk about maybe 1 or 2 guys that might be drafted. Like half the dudes you're focusing on, not just playing in the National Football League, but to be draft picks. It is mind-boggling how much that program has changed in less than 24 months. Mind-boggling.
Oh, and yeah, that's a great point that I never thought of, how sought he will be on the speaking circuit.
Correct.
Now, at the same time, not on the I don't know how much it will be right now on the his peers circuit, because I wonder if there's jealousy there.
Sure.
How much jealousy there's there.
And frankly, I've heard Curt speak.
And I say that, because in the coaches poll for Indiana, they have 1 first place vote.
Right. I've heard Curt speak. Curt spoke at the National Football Foundation banquet before he coached his first game, which is in April of 2024, and sat at the table with him and had a nice conversation. Nothing flashy, just this is what we do. How's we're going to do it. But again, I would pay money just to hang around to practice. I just want to see the day-to-day interaction with him, other coaches, players, because again, it's must-see TV. And you know this is a big compliment. When you do what we do for a living, as much as we enjoy what we do for a living, it is our job. And so things that are not on our beat, or in your case, the Indiana sports beat, you're like, I may watch it, I may not. I actually need a break from this. I find myself now DVRing every IU football game, even though I rarely have the chance to talk about them, just because I am so slack-jawed at what I see from that program every Saturday.
Yeah, there's definitely a process, and it is adhered to.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of times you hear all these phrases and these cute things and all that. And Cignetti has a lot of things that he says, but I don't think these are things that he just says. I truly believe this is an active, minute by minute way of life for him, and how he goes through at least his work life every day, and everyone around him. It's the same every day, and that consistency is now being seen on the field. They don't beat themselves, and that is huge.
Yep. Agreed.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you as always. Thank you for staying a little extra. I appreciate the great information. It was fun as always.
The least I can do for me in 10 minutes. I figure I'd give you 15 extra minutes if I get here 10 minutes late. I think that's a fair trade. Right?
It's always all good. I'm just glad to chat. It's always fun. Hey, make sure you're giving Greg a follow if you're not already, and going to the ISC Sports Network, where you can pick up a myriad of coverage. What is up next on ISC?
So from an ISC standpoint, you'll start seeing girls basketball pop up on the channel over the course of the next few games. We'll go heavy focus on that. So the boys season starts November the 25th. And a reminder, all IHSAA postseason games are on IHSAATV.org, and they are free in the sectional and regional round. It gets pay-per-view by the time you get to semi-state. But again, from a semi-state standpoint, you have access to 12 games for $20. It's very worth your time to invest in that. But the other thing that I would recommend from an ISC standpoint, we did something pretty unique and cool on Saturday afternoon. There is 8-man football that is played in the state of Indiana, and we broadcast the championship. Correct. We broadcast the state champion. Yes, we broadcast the state championship game from Waldron. So go check that out at iscsportsnetwork.com.
I did not know that. I know that they had that out in like Iowa and
I am here to educate and inform when I'm with you. Absolutely.
All right, next time we got to talk a little bit more about that, because I was not aware of that. I know that they have it out in places like Iowa, like I said.
Jimmy, one of their kids is 7 foot and 335. I think he's the second biggest building in Waldron. I think that kid himself is one of the tallest buildings in town.
I can't wait. That's going to be a blast. Make sure you give him Greg a follow. Appreciate you, brother, as always.
See you, buddy.
Absolutely. Hey, more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with it after these messages. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Hey, welcome back, Indiana Sports Media Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you along after another fun weekend. Lots of things going on. High school sports we just talked of as the playoffs are rounding up to fashion. The same with college is not to the playoffs yet, but we're about to the first college football playoff poll. That comes out tomorrow. I think that they're going to have the Buckeyes in first, and I think Indiana will be second. I think the first CFP poll is going to mirror the AP poll, at least the top 6-7 spots. And those top 7 spots, all SEC and Big Ten. 4 SEC schools, 3 Big Ten. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, of course, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and who am I missing? I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but anyway, that's my, because first of all, that's the easy way to go. This is not final. This is not even far. This is far from final. So that's the easy way to go. But also they look at different things. They're taking certain metrics into order. Their strength of schedule right now. They use a ton of different metrics to arrive at this that the AP doesn't quite use. At the end of the day, though, it is mostly human input because it comes down to what certain people think. You can give them the information, but you can't, you can't force them to how they interpret it. So it'll be interesting to see. But like I said earlier as well, it doesn't matter. The Big Ten championship is ultimately going to decide both Indiana and Ohio State's fate if Ohio State gets past Michigan. Now, I just can't imagine that happening. But guess what? I would have said that and probably did say that last year, especially at Ohio State. And it still blows my mind because the Buckeyes went on to win the national championship, losing the last game of the year. But Indiana can win that Big Ten game. Then the fear might be if you win and you beat Ohio State, you get the number 1 seed. The only time you would have a chance to play Ohio State again would be in a national championship game. Now, if that happened, do you want to meet the same team twice that close together at the end of the year? I'm not sure you do. Not saying that they couldn't be upset by someone. But how cool. The greatest deal for Indiana fans would be to see the Hoosiers beat the Buckeyes in the Big Ten championship game, if that's who they get to play. And if they don't, people are going to still say, well, they still haven't beaten Ohio State. Regardless of that, imagine if Indiana were able to beat the Buckeyes for the Big Ten championship, earning the number 1 seed for the college football playoffs, and to then make it to the championship game and beat an SEC team for that. That would be the greatest result for Indiana.
that would kill so many stones, that would kill so many birds with the least amount of stones. You will have vanquished the king of the Big Ten. You will have beaten Ohio State and Oregon in the same season. You have beaten the best of the SEC. And that would give the Big Ten a third consecutive national championship with 3 different teams, including the most unlikely in the history of college football. And talk of Indiana winning a national championship, not hyperbole. It's real, and it is legit. It is legit. The best thing for Indiana is for people to hope it's not legit, is to hope that coaches do not see them as legit, which I would find hard to believe. Coaches are smarter than that. But it's going to be fun to watch this play out. Who ends up? Can the Big Ten get a 4th team in? I just don't know, because of how these schedules end up. USC has to play Iowa. Now, Iowa has to go to USC. That's got to be tough. But then they got Michigan State in a weakened Nebraska team. So Iowa, they've got a shot at finishing with 1 loss in the Big Ten, but not a shot at the Big Ten championship after they lost to Indiana. What does USC have? Well, let's get their schedule pulled up. They've got a game against Northwestern. They have that game against Iowa. But then the Trojans travel to Oregon. That would give them a 3rd loss on the season, and I just don't see it's going to be tough to get a 3-loss Big Ten team in. I don't know who has the best shot, to be honest with you. USC, if they beat Oregon, would be in, but they would have to beat Oregon at Oregon, and that would probably devalue Indiana's win there. So, yeah, you see all these what ifs. It's exactly, Robert, a lot of what ifs to play out. And yes, getting past Penn State first is, of course, without question, something that has to happen. But it's fun to talk about this stuff because it's that time of year. Heisman Trophy. Who are the Heisman Trophy leaders right now? I still think that to me, it's Fernando Mendoza, although his last 2 games weren't Heisman-esque. Let's hear what Coach Kurt Cignetti said after the win in College Park.
Seats a little low. All right, it's hard to win on the road. Good win. Game didn't start out great, with the turnover. Defense did a great job of holding them to 3 points. In the second drive, the offense didn't do a whole lot either. Defense held them again. And at the end of the day, the defense created 5 turnovers. This was the number 1 team in the country in turnover ratio going in the game. Offense ran the ball for 370 yards. And I think Maryland ran for 25. So it's hard to win on the road. It's a really good win.
Zach and Ravi.
I guess, Kurt, first, were any of those injuries, are there any serious injury concerns?
No, we came out good. I mean, Surratt, hamstring, tightened up on him a little bit. And, we've got some guys with some bumps and bruises. And, as the week went on, it didn't look real good for Fischer playing. So there was no surprise there. And, Drew Evans, will be out for a few weeks. So we came out pretty good. Now, we got some guys that are sore. We played a few games in a row now, but we came out good.
I guess just follow. You talked about the way the defense held early, the complementary football this team plays. How much does that start to feed on itself with this group? That the defense understands the offense will pick them up if they need. The offense knows it can go a couple empty drives because the defense isn't going to cave. Just how much confidence does that give this group?
From my standpoint, the thing I'm most proud of is the way that they listen to the message about playing one play at a time, regardless of the circumstances. And you see that in the fourth quarter. But the defense has all year long risen to the occasion when their backs are against the wall. It wasn't perfect tonight defensively, trust me. Open field tackling wasn't very good. They had some explosive plays. But there's a lot of good things there on tape, and it's a good win.
Rabbi, then Jim.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to get your thoughts on your offensive line's play. Obviously, Evans isn't there. Yeah, you guys just totally ran over him like 3-4 drives and 367.
Yeah. That's a combination of having a physical mindset and our backs running really hard and receivers part of that blocking pattern too and breaking tackles. It takes all 11 guys. And, I think there was that point. You saw it early in the game. They went down the first drive and scored, second half, 20-10.
Yeah.
We answered. And then we started getting some turnovers and opened the game up. And then you just sort of saw, like, a little change in that game, right? And that's usually how it happens in the run game. Doesn't happen right away. It usually happens sometime middle, third quarter, and that's what happened tonight.
Jim, then Daniel.
Kurt, you guys have been great on both sides of the ball in the second half of games, and especially defensively. You've only given up 2 touchdowns in the second half all season. How important is that for that defense to get stronger as the games go on?
That's a great stat. I wasn't aware of that. And, our defense has been really great all year. How many total touchdowns have we given up? 7. 7 all year. So, but look, there's a lot to clean up, trust me. Good night. It's a good night.
Daniel, then Seth.
It kind of seems like there's just this innate trait where you guys just keep swinging, score aside, time aside. How special, how unique is it to have a trait like that?
That's the key to the drill to me. It is that you're playing from the first play to last play the same. And, we're getting close to getting that. We're real close. And that's why you see some of the results that you see. There's not the ups and downs relative to good plays, bad plays, circumstances of the game. You see guys like laying it on the line every play. And I give them and the assistants a lot of credit for that.
Seth and Zach.
Kurt, the way you guys started the game, this isn't the first time you faced, little adversity like that, and it just doesn't seem to shake your group. Like, why is this team able to be so unflappable?
Well, it's a veteran group. We got on offense, a lot of guys have played a lot of football, and really the same on defense. So, chances are all these guys have been in this situation before, right? And they know how to respond. Or not react, so to speak, right? The key is always your response. So really proud of our defense, the way and then the offense started picking it up, and a lot of it was a ground game, but the pass game chipped in too.
Zach B. then Zion.
With some of the bumps and bruises that you guys picked up tonight, what did tonight's performance tell you specifically about the depth of your football team?
Well, we've had some guys step in, step up, and that's what you got to have. And sometimes you never really know about a guy till he gets an opportunity. And that's really true because, when a guy gets an opportunity, he can become a little bit of a different kind of guy. Because, the twos get limited reps in practice, and, I'm sure it's not fun. But we're going to need more people to step up. because we don't have an off week for a couple more weeks yet.
Zion and then back to Zach.
Kurt, last week you kind of talked about Mike Shanahan and his play calling. I was just curious, throughout your coaching career, at any point were you the play caller, and just what makes you have that confidence in him?
Yeah, I called him at IUP. Mike, I hired our last year at IUP. When we went to Elon, I hired a new coordinator and gave him play calling responsibility, but I would interject and depend on game, but I kind of walk, but I've always kind of run the meetings, so to speak, the offensive staff meetings in season, and I'll interject, and that hasn't changed. Lately, not as much. Been kind of letting him and Chandler go.
Zach.
Well, I'll go ahead. Let's hear the last question.
You've mentioned many times how experienced this team is, but you also talk about guys getting opportunities. I know nobody's worried about the future, but how encouraging is it when you see younger guys like Mario Landino, like Kobe Martin, guys that when they're handed that opportunity, whether it's obviously early in the game or even as these games wear on, you're seeing young guys really sort of take advantage of development opportunities.
No, that you're exactly right. Because the thing about this job, you're getting ready to play a game, right? But you're always looking down the road at your 26 team and your 27 team, and the new portal date and how it's going to affect your program, and et cetera, and high school, recruiting, and then to have young guys step up like that, that's it's good to see.
Coach Curt Cignetti, his postgame presser there in College Park, Maryland, after Indiana dispatches the Terrapins 55-10. But that last thing there, that brings up a question I'd love to talk to or ask Curt, and maybe I will today, but it's probably something he won't deal with. But Indiana is very likely going to have a bye in the college football playoffs, which means they will not play their first game until the first of the year, Christmas Eve, or New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, that type of thing. The portal opens on January 2nd. There are probably going to be guys that leave this Indiana team, and there are guys that you're going to want to get. So that's something to think about, people. That is going to be something that has to be managed, not just by Indiana, but by the upper level teams. Got to get disadvantage. It's kind of like, it's very much like the drafts for the professional, the NFL, NBA, whatever. The teams that have the least amount of success get the top draft picks to try to even things out. So kind of similar. Hey, I gonna take a break. Our last one. Appreciate you being with us. Jim Coyle, we got more coming up. Back with it after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Hey, welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you along. Dustin DePirick, he was not able to be with us today, by the way. He's on assignment. As hey, how about the Pacers? Speaking of Dustin, the Pacers getting a big win yesterday. Man, taking on the red hot boys from the Golden City with Steph Curry, and that was a great win to pull out, because the Pacers, they were down, but able to pull out the win yesterday. And I think the first win of the year, as they beat the Warriors 114-109. Let me see, go back and make sure. Preseason. All right. So they lost. They won. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're now 1-5 to start the season, but I think they had another injury. Jeez. There's never been a team that's been hurt. But the one thing, they're not gonna have to worry about tanking. You start out 1-5, I don't think you have to worry about tanking. I mean, it would be a severe fall off, but you already know that your season is going to be very challenged, I guess, is the best way to put it. And that was without the current injuries that are lining up. It was already going to be tough as hell. And now, early on, you're getting banged up. Pacers could tank without trying and wind up with a very high draft pick. You get Tyrese Halliburton back next year, man, they could be back at it. We'll see. They're at home for the next two games. Milwaukee in town tonight. Brooklyn on Wednesday before they head out west to take on Denver and the Warriors. Then the Jazz and the Suns. So they've got 4 road games through the first half of November after these 2 games here this week. After the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a real good idea of probably what's going to go on with the Pacers this season, which we probably already do have a good idea. But you got to let it play out. You got to let it. But I think it's already there. It's kind of already there. Yeah, they barely won, but hey, Warriors have been playing pretty well. As a matter of fact, what is their? They were 4-3, or they were 4-2. So, hey, win's a win, baby. A win is a win. Tonight you have got the NFL. More games, the Monday Night Football. Are we done? Yes, we're done with the double. No, are we? What is this? Week 10? Las Vegas. Or is that I think that's last week's. Yeah. Arizona. Cardinals seem like they've been on a lot. At Dallas. Dallas is going to be on twice in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football. Are they still that much of a draw, I guess? The Cardinals, Arizona, at Jerry World tonight. Manicast, I'll be watching that. I think they've got like 5 straight weeks of it now. They had one last week and then 5 more coming up. I much prefer to watch the Manicast. I think it's funny. I think it is entertaining, and you definitely learn a lot, I think. How about that Chicago-Cincinnati game? 47-42. Joe Flacco, 470 yards. Get out of here. What? That's mind-boggling. That's got to be the most yards ever thrown by a man of his age. Daniel Jones managed 342 in that slop fest. Jonathan Taylor only had 45. Yeah, just not a good day for the Colts. It just did not start out well, and it did not end well. And you're going to get one of those. You could kind of tell early on. But the fact that they were right there, they hung in and kind of had a shot. But, you lose by 7, having, 6 turnovers? Huh. Indiana forcing 5 turnovers at Maryland, and I mean forcing. The interception by Lewis Moore was spectacular, NFL grade. And those 2 takeaways by Boykin. Oh, and I forgot who did the other one, but they literally, also start Byron Baldwin, I believe. The BB boys, takeaways, forced, literally took it away. Strip, scoop. One was a score. This Indiana defense is just looking spectacular. And when you have an offense like Indiana's, you hear the phrase complementary football. That means playing on both sides of the ball. Both sides are helping the other. Well, Indiana has a complementary offense before it even has complementary football. You want to focus on their rushing game? Try to get Fernando on tomorrow's his comments. He said, we'll shove 367 yards down your throat, which is what they did. Crazy. Fun day as always. Big thanks to everybody. Most importantly, thanks to each and every one of you. We're back tomorrow to do it again. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.